Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Throwing Partners episode, the second one. Thank you guys for joining us again. I'm joined here with Brian, and you're joined by me also by Chris. But let's take attendance here first, all right? So, Brian, are you here?
I'm here as best I can be. Lack of sleep, but I'm good. I'm here.
And I know I'm here, so check that. Oh, wait, we have an additional person to the classroom here.
Our first guest on episode 2.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys.
We're introducing you to Big Zay Mack. I've known Big Zay for a while. Grew up in the military together. He's doing great things still in the military. As you can tell, if you're watching this off of YouTube, he's a big Cards fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Zay, go ahead and give us a little background of yourself, man.
Man, first off, y'all guys, thank you for having me on the Throwing Partners. You know, I'm glad to be here. But
No problem.
just of course, man, I've known Chris for a solid 5-6 years now. Played kickball together, sports junkie just like myself. That's how he and I bonded, you know. But yeah, man, they call me Big Zay Mack. I'm a rapper, unfortunately, but hey, I get paid to do it. I love it.
What do you mean?
Unfortunately, man,
Hey,
I mean,
you're making your living.
that is true, but rappers come a dime a dozen. But hey,
But it's a
I mean,
growing industry. It's a growing
It
industry.
is, and people starting to take notice to me, which is cool. Guys, bless me, man. But I'm glad to be here, man. I'm from a small town called Columbus, Mississippi. Proud to represent it, which is backwards because I'm wearing a Cardinals hat, and you know that's my team. But yeah, so me and Chris we talk sports all the time, man. I'm glad to be here.
Zay, what got you coming from Mississippi? What got you into the Cardinals?
Something I get asked all the time, but and it's the same story. But when I was playing football back in school, I was a big dude, like I'm big right now. I just never was fast. I could catch the ball. I didn't have speed. And I split. It was the Chicago Bears against the Cardinals game when the coach said the Bears who we thought we were. And I saw Anquan Bolden. He was not fast. But he was able to catch the ball. He'll lower his shoulder. He could knock defenders out the way. He'll make a play when he needed to. That's kind of how I tried to model my game after him. And at the time, the Titans weren't that hot. The Saints weren't that hot.
Mm-hmm.
And the Falcons were okay because of Mike Vick, but I'm not a quarterback. I can't throw to save my life. But, you know, so I just stuck with them. And every time Arizona came on TV and I was able to watch it, I just followed them and been my boys ever since.
That's good. That's how I've kind of fallen with the Colts, being from California. I latched onto a couple of players like Peyton Manning, Dallas Clark, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison. So like just watching those guys like on Sundays, I was like, I like this team. And since then, kind of stuck to it.
I think we're all kind of on this podcast kind of spread out a little bit with the teams we like. We're all in different locations than what our teams that we really like. I'm a Seattle fan, but here in California, it's just like, I think this group right now for this episode was a perfect match for us to talk about. And with that, we're going to go straight in to the NFL topics. All right. Because NFL is taking a big chunk out of here. The first thing we're going to talk about are the coaches that have been given the boot. So the first one, and I don't know if you could say it's been a long time coming because it's only been 2 seasons. Adam Gase is gone out of New York.
You know, I'm surprised he even lasted this long this season.
Yeah.
Like if you go at the final weeks of the season with no wins, like you let him go right then and there. Like, all right, we started out 0-6, gone. See ya.
Yeah. And the other team wouldn't have lasted that long.
Yeah, I don't know how he was. I have no words. There's no words to describe how long he was able to stay there without being removed. And I'm surprised they let him go the whole season. The way that the season they let him go the whole season. But
maybe
I think
it was part of his contract, or I don't know. They were like, you know what, we're out of it anyways. Let's just let him finish the job, have it be like a completed season under his belt, so he can get another job somewhere else.
Yeah,
that could have been a thing too.
That's why I got to interject right there. Another job somewhere else. Who's about to pick up Adam Gase?
Exactly.
You're already going ahead in our topics.
Yeah,
here,
this
Zay.
is a segue for
slow
Chris's
down.
I'll pump the brakes, but that's just me thinking like, hold on, nah.
So as the CEO of the Jets put it, he is an offensive guru, which I feel like that term has been thrown around to every single coach that gets recently hired.
It didn't look that way this season.
Exactly. But also he had nothing there as well. But going into it always falls down to, honestly, in today's world, it's the quarterback and the coach. That's it.
That's it.
But since Adam Gase is such an offensive guru, I don't think he gets a head coaching job anywhere, but he goes as an offensive coordinator possibly somewhere. I have no idea. What are your guys' thoughts? Brian, go ahead and take it away.
Let's segue to Zay, because I don't know much about Adam
going
Gase's
to Zay then. Let's hear it, Zay. If you had to make a bold prediction, where do you think Adam Gase goes? And you could say if he goes as a head coach, you can say that as well.
Adam Gase goes home. I don't know. Because, here's the thing, man. You were in Miami, right? What did you do in Miami? You had maybe one good year? Maybe one.
He had good players, too.
Great players. Devontae Parker's out there. That's a first-round pick.
Xavier Howard, great.
Xavier Howard out there. Raekwon McMillan was out there. You had players there. Bobby McClain was out there. But what happened? Nothing. You didn't sniff a playoff berth. Didn't sniff a wild card berth. You sniffed the usual middle-of-the-pack draft pick. So when you get fired in Miami, which you lasted, maybe 2-3 seasons too long, you go to the New York Jets. That hire should never happen in the first place. I hated that they got rid of Todd Bowles. That's a former Cardinal right there. I hated that they got rid of him because he didn't have nothing to work with either. So you go and you draft Sam Darnold. Quarterback, coach relation, just like Chris said, it never worked in the first place because he had no weapons to throw to.
Yep.
And there was no growth, no progression. So now, just because you got fired, the whole Jets organization is a mess right now. What do you do now? Do you go after Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields? Kyle Trask, do you go after them? You don't know. And that's all back on you, head coach. So no, you don't get a job anywhere if I'm a CEO.
Let me add on to this. So Adam Gase, right? If he's this offensive guru, he's probably calling the plays for the majority of the downs offensively, correct? If I might be wrong. Let me tell you something. Even though Sam Darnold's not a good quarterback, let me tell you about the problems that his offensive line had. He got sacked 35 times.
You don't win games that way.
And you know what's funny? No. He didn't even start every game. He didn't start it, and he got sacked 35 times. And then when he did start, Sam Darnold threw 9 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. I think if you have more interceptions than touchdowns in the NFL, even if you don't watch football, I think you're going to be like, oh, that sounds bad. And that's what the Jets
Someone
are.
Is knocking at my door. I'm sorry. I will be right back.
You're so good. Sorry. You're good. Go ahead and take it.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we got it. But Brian, Brian, if I had to say, though, and this is a quote from the CEO after they let go of Adam Gase, is, to our fans, it is obvious we have not been good enough. And I'm going to say that quote again when Zay comes back, because I feel like he's going to tear into that legitimately, but I want to hear what you think.
I'm going to say that again in a few minutes when we go over to spoilers, the Chargers firing and the whole Spanos regime over there. How much of a joke that is, but at a certain point, ownership of New York, that's a big city, it's a big market. The Giants are there, they share the stadium. The Giants aren't great, but they were in the hunt this year all season. Yes.
But it's also because they're in the worst division possible.
Yeah. Oh, they're in the NFC worst. That being said, the Jets, they're in the AFC, it's huge over there. The teams that in that division they're tough. Miami's tough. This year, New England hit or miss. Now that Brady's gone, it's a whole new roster. But you had that chance to kind of take the steps up a little bit, and you failed to do it. And that's not just a sign of the coaching staff or the players in the field. It's the fact that the owners and the GMs aren't investing in the right players, or they don't even have their head in the right thought of putting a competitive team on the field.
Exactly.
We haven't seen a competitive Jets team, dare I say it, since, if you can call them competitive, Mark Sanchez, from the best I can remember. Butt fumble. There you go.
Yeah.
But Zay, we were just going over. So I have a quote from the CEO of the Jets, Christopher Johnson. He said, I quote, after Adam Gase was fired, "To our fans, it is obvious we have not been good enough." So Brian was going in and saying basically that Jets are a dumpster fire. It really is. And it comes down to would you say, Brian, also the culture, how everything's going on there? Because I feel like Adam Gase was not a very player-friendly coach. But Zay, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, because didn't he have those personnel issues in Miami?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't
there wasn't
an investigation, but I think there was like something about a confrontation between him and players.
So if you knew that before the hire, why make the hire? You didn't have results in Miami. What makes you think you will have them in New Jersey? Because that's where they play. Why would you have them in Jersey and with a worse roster? I don't understand that. That's on the GM and CEO of that organization. Adam Gase, you're a fall guy by default, but you suck as a coach too. So no, that's on him.
Yeah, I totally agree. But you know what? And how bad the Jets are, I was still glad to see Frank Gore still running the ball.
Yeah.
Almost reached 700 yards. And, you know, for his length of time in the NFL, he should not be a starter, but he ended up being a starter in New York. Ran for 653 yards, which could have been a lot worse. So it's good for him. I mean, at least he did get 2 wins before he's retiring. Who knows? You know, he could pull Brett Favre and then come back. The dude's ageless, so we don't even know.
Well, what's sad is a guy like Frank Gore, who's 37, like led the entire team in rushing yards.
It's really sad.
By an obscene amount.
I don't even call that sad.
I mean, it's not sad, but it's like these younger guys should step up a little bit.
That's what I was about to say. I was just about to
say
that.
Sorry for cutting you off, Zay.
No, you're good. Look, we couldn't shut up because it's a passionate subject right here. But I mean, just think about it. I'm 37. I'm now 3rd all time. Is he 3rd now? What was it, 3rd or 4th?
He was 3rd.
No, he's up 3rd.
There. He's 3rd.
All time rushing. So you know I'm a legend. I'm a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. Y'all can't outwork me. It's just like Detroit. Adrian Peterson outrushed everybody that they got. You drafted John Trey Swift. Adrian Peterson comes in and says, "Nah, I'm still the bell cow." That's the shame of the young guys, man.
Yeah.
Same on them.
And you know what's funny? It's like, you know, we all know the Jets are in rebuild mode. It's out there. But here's the thing. What do you build around is the question, because you let go of Adams. He's in Seattle. You let go of Bell. He's in what? Kansas City now. And then Darnold, like 2 weeks ago, quote unquote, says he thinks he's the solution. If your quarterback thinks, like I said last week or last episode, if your quarterback thinks he's the solution, he's not the solution. He has to know he's the solution.
He's delusional, just like a future quarterback we're going to talk about later on.
Exactly. And the only person I think they can build around that's somewhat decent, besides Frank Gore, because he's leaving, is Crowder. Crowder's the only thing there.
Yeah.
If he stays.
That's a good question, too.
If he stays.
It's a good trade chip. He had a good season. He was on my fantasy team, one of my top receivers, and he had a good year. And if they want to rebuild, like, you let a guy like that go to get those draft picks or another quality starter.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, let's move on to the next head coach that recently got fired, and that would be Mr. Anthony Lynn of the Chargers. I will say this. I'm going to speak really quick. I'm going to let you guys take it away, but this is what I'm going to say. There are good things about Anthony Lynn, and then there's also bad things about Anthony Lynn. And if you guys don't say it, I'm definitely going to point them out. But Zay, go ahead and take it away. What do you think about the firing of Anthony Lynn?
First off, I'm not even going to address the race thing. To me, I don't care when it comes to football. If you can produce, you play. So I'm going to make sure nobody gets that. I don't care if he's black, he got fired. He got fired because he didn't do a good job. My thing about Anthony Lynn, I think for him it's kind of a product of circumstance, because you had Tyrod Taylor there as your starter, and I'm a fan of Tyrod Taylor. He just always gets in a bad situation. Like,
especially this year.
This year was a bad situation. Like, you're playing well, then your team doctor messed up your lung. Then now Justin Herbert came in, you draft him high, he did what he had to do. Boom, Justin Herbert, he's a surefire starter now. I think the reason that he lost his job is because his defense could not get the job done. Look at their games. So many games lost by 3 or more points.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter meltdowns. That's why you lost your job. Also, you know what you're doing because you put people in the right places. Your defense just let you down, so they cost you your job, my man.
I agree 100% with the defense letting him down. Brian, do you have anything to add on the firing of Anthony Lynn?
The firing, I think, how long was he there?
He was there for 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Yeah.
The Chargers have always been inconsistent. I think if you gave them another year with them rising up a little bit with that young team that they have, they could have gotten somewhere. But I want to pick apart the quote from Dean Spanos.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear
joke he is.
Get him.
This is the last line of the quote, his full quote. Fans need to know that the LA Chargers are committed to consistent winning football.
No, you're not.
When was the last time they saw that? When LaDainian Tomlinson was there?
First off, fans.
You don't have any.
There's no fans. You turned your back on back in San Diego, and no one cares. And then they're practically giving season tickets away to the Chargers, like pending if there are fans in the next coming seasons. But I saw an ad this past Sunday. Oh, a season ticket starting at $71.
What?
No one's going to those games. There's no fans. Like and they're not committed. Like if Spanos was committed, he would have stayed somewhere. They would have figured something out in San Diego. But he pieced out, went to a bigger market in LA, and the bigger market doesn't even like them.
It's not even that. Like they're losing so much revenue to not even just the Rams. Like they're behind the Lakers, they're behind the Clippers, they're behind the Kings, they're behind the Dodgers, the Angels. They're like the bottom. If just like you said, Brian, if you're committed, you would have found out a way to make the tax dollars work in San Diego.
Exactly.
You would have made it work.
And you know what's funny is you can honestly say, I mean, here's my question too, though. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't really follow soccer a whole bunch, but I should start because I do like watching it when it is on. Are the Galaxy playing in that new stadium too?
I think so.
I don't know.
Because here's my thing is,
we'll fact check it.
If you have to name 7 other teams, and out of those 7 other teams, you're still at the bottom of revenue and everything. And you know what? NFL is one of the highest like revenue sports in America itself.
Yeah.
It's really sad. So that's basically saying, okay, Rams, you got a new stadium. That's yours. You can have that. Dean Spanos doesn't know what he's doing. That's why he's one of the worst owners in the NFL. He's never cared about his team. He's had great teams.
Yeah.
And they have showed. But that's honestly, I feel like that's from a GM and a head coaching standpoint, knowing what they're doing. I would say this is a couple points I want to say about Anthony Lynn is Anthony Lynn. I think he should have stayed there because he's probably one of the better coaches you could have in the NFL right now. He's a very leadership guy. He's a very player coach, you know, like he's approachable.
Yes.
He does not, basically he doesn't turn a blind eye to his players. And it's kind of hard to come by with that in the NFL, but the NFL is getting younger in the coaching staff. So you may start seeing it more, but my thing is one of the bad things Anthony Lynn did was, as Zay, you put it, losing by 3 or less points in that last kind of fourth quarter and everything like that. And you know what came down to it? If you look back at a lot of stuff, it's time mismanagement on his end of taking risky plays when it's not necessary. And it's when they have the lead too. It's when they have the lead. And, you know, their defense might be bad, but I'm pretty sure they have 2 former Pro Bowlers, Joey Bosa and who's the quarterback, Hayward.
Yep. Casey Hayward's out there.
So it's not like they don't have a defense. They have good players and their offense is phenomenal. They, you know, people doubted Justin Herbert a lot of stuff for being drafted so high.
I was one of them.
But you know what? That kid showed up and he's going to probably win offensive rookie of the year, if let alone rookie of the year. There's honestly no competition for that award for him, but I do believe Anthony Lynn should have gotten another shot. And also with the Chargers firing it, now they're having to look for coaches when they lost out on an actually really good coach.
Which actually now that kind of just made my mind spin a little bit. Now I can see Anthony Lynn ended up as an OC somewhere. Somebody needs offensive coordinator. I can see him sliding into that role. I'm pretty sure he'll take it. He'll take that role. Yeah. But now the caveat is, who wants to go coach for Dean Spanos? You have no fans. Now you got to win over that locker room. So now that's something else.
So we got a segment coming up, Zay, because you're flash forwarding ahead here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm just thinking. I'm sorry.
No, that's what happens. That's what sports make you do. They make you think outside the bubble, outside of your brain, and then it turns into either an argument, which it shouldn't have, but it should be a nice cohesive argument, I guess you could say.
Right.
But with Anthony Lynn, best of luck to him. I think he's gonna do well, way better than Adam Gase. So let's go into the next coach that got fired recently. Brian, who is that?
Oof.
Well, if you don't know, I'll say it.
Marone out of Jacksonville. Which another Jets incident where it's like, you guys were this bad. Like, why wasn't he gone in week 4? Like, he waited till the end of the season. I don't get it. Just a really, really bad team, and just not even mediocre coaching. Just
terrible.
Didn't have a lot to like. He didn't have a lot he didn't have a lot on his team, but there was not there. I think there was one game that was close.
There's nothing there.
Like they were laughing stock. It was a minor league team.
I think they have a longer rebuild than the Jets do.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because one, you let Leonard Fournette go for just let him go.
No, because Tom Coughlin didn't like him. So he's out.
That's ridiculous. That's when you have to, because everybody on that team is an adult, unless somehow they're putting 12-year-olds out there and we just don't know it. But what I'm saying is everybody's an adult. Everybody can compromise in disagreements. Okay. And as a coach in sports, you're looked at as a leader. You're leading this team to do something. Okay. Those players are going to look up to you somehow, some way. And even if you don't, then you talk to your player and say, hey, I'm in charge, but what's your disagreement? Let's talk about it. Let's solve this so you can get a rhythm going. And next thing you know, you're having a solid season and everything like that. So Doug Maroon was a long time coming, long and short. But it's a worst case scenario for him than I think Adam Gase. I think Doug Maroon is out of football, just like Adam Gase is for a while too.
Hugh Jackson. You're a Hugh Jackson. Unfortunately, that's what you are. You're Hugh Jackson. You're a Hugh Jackson. And I can't say it's his fault because you had nothing to work with. Mm-hmm. I put that on the owner, Shad Khan. I put that on Tom Coughlin because you stripped that team of whatever you had. When you let go of Fournette and AJ Bouye and Ramsey, that was it. Yep. You let go of Jalen Ramsey, that's how you knew the team was down. For nothing. That's how you knew it was done.
And when players openly are like, I don't want to play here, that's a problem. It. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you lose the whole locker room.
You lost it.
So would it be honestly say that Jack Del Rio needs to come back to Jacksonville?
I wouldn't. If I'm him, you know what? There was one thing I will say about Jack Del Rio, because I'm here in Florida now. When I said that was the most gangster coach, walking the sideline in a leather trench coat and calling plays, I'm like, you know what? That's a bad man. But his teams were competitive to a sense.
Are you talking about when they had like Gerard and all that?
Yeah, when they had like the two Allen twins out there, they were decent. Mm-hmm. You had to play them. You didn't go there expecting to win. I mean, every football team goes anywhere expecting to win, but in Jacksonville, it wasn't a surefire win. But then when you let go of all of that, the downfall started there.
Yep.
So this was a downfall in the making.
The mid-2000s Jaguars were pretty competitive.
They were decent. Yeah.
When they had Jones Drew and all that.
Yeah.
Watching them compete against the Colts like a few other weeks.
Those were games.
They were fun to watch.
Yeah. So wait, Brian, are you saying, hey, Jacksonville, thank you for firing Jack Del Rio and getting rid of all those players so we can make playoffs this year?
Am I what?
Are you saying basically what Zay was saying was once Jack Del Rio left and all those players left, right? Basically, it made way for you this year as a Colts fan to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Not really. No, we always have the chance to go. It's just like, but they're far from actually, like, even the last few years, they've been hit or miss. They haven't really been great or fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like there was the whole Gardner Minshew thing last year, but
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Gardner Minshew.
Of Uncle Rico?
Of Uncle Rico from Napoleon. But the thing is like, if you're not a fan of his, which, I mean, you have every right to be because the numbers show pretty badly. But you have to also remember, he's got nothing. There's not even a running back for him. There's nothing there. So a lot of his
James
stats,
Robinson.
You can't say that with a straight face.
That's still an average. That's an average wide receiver. There's no stud. There's no Pro Bowl. There's nothing there. But if you look back though, his quarterback rating is terrible. It's like in the 50s, I think. But he did throw over 20 touchdowns and only had 5 interceptions, which I don't see how his QBR is that low, but
easy. Look at the games he had. Those games. You had those big numbers against the Texans. I could go out there and do that against the Texans. Their secondary is atrocious.
But it's like, okay, so do you put the blame on Minshew or do you put it on Jags defense?
No, I put the blame on Tom Coughlin. You're the one who's bringing players there. You're the one shipping them out. You say, oh, this is our guy. Just like you misfired on Nick Foles. And he had no one to work with. Mm-hmm. So what do you expect? Oh, he's playing bad. Let's get him out of here.
They got rid of him quick.
And you fleeced Chicago. I'm getting to them. Good job of that.
All their players are on very short leashes.
Oh, yeah.
But even in Minshew started 8 games this season. Mm-hmm. 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
So 16 touchdowns, not 20, but
for what he had 21 last year. But
okay.
He went 21 touchdowns last year, 6 interceptions. This year, 16 and 5. With what he had on the field,
still inflated. Because how many wins do they have?
One.
One win.
All right. So we've touched on Doug Maroon. We've touched on Anthony Lynn and Adam Gase. Of course, there are many other coaches throughout the season that got fired. We're not going to cover them all.
A lot.
But we're into the segment of now. I'm going to name a coach. We'll start with you, Brian, for each category first, and then Zay, you're after him.
Okay.
Give me a team where you're going to say yay or nay. I'm going to name a team. I'm going to name a coach. You say yay or nay if it'll work or not. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one I got, is Adam Gase, offensive coordinator at Jacksonville.
Nay.
The clock is now running on you, Mr. Brian. Nay. Zay, what do you say?
Nay.
So he's waiting for a phone call, basically. He's waiting for
yeah.
All right, so the next one I got is Anthony Lynn, head coach, Detroit.
Ooh, that's.
I will say this. Here's a fun one. If you haven't been watching, Marvin Harrison also interviewed for Detroit's head coaching job.
I didn't know that.
Marvin Harrison is one of the people that have been interviewed for the head coaching job there. But we're talking about Anthony Lynn here. So
okay.
What do you think about
I could throw my hat in the ring. I don't know much about coaching football, but maybe I'll throw my hat for Detroit. Who knows?
So you're saying yay is what you're saying.
I think that would be a good fit in Detroit. So yay, yes.
Okay.
Yay, asterisk.
All right. So what's the asterisk for?
What is the future of that team? What are y'all doing in Detroit? That's the thing. If I take that job, who am I? Am I gonna have number 9 throwing the ball for me still, or are we gonna draft somebody else? That's the only caveat I would have if I'm taking a meeting with them.
If they're smart, they keep Matthew Stafford, but still draft a quarterback because he's a good quarterback to learn from.
Yeah.
And they just eat the rest of his contract. He only has I think a year or 2 years left. Just let it happen. That's the smarter way to do it.
Yeah.
So, because then you're benefiting your younger player and also you're giving Matthew Stafford still a chance because he's still a good quarterback.
Oh, yeah. It just has nothing to work with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So next one is Urban Meyer. All right.
Okay.
Rumored to come to the NFL. Now, you're going to have 2 choices here. So you pick a team. Okay. Jags or Chargers?
He'd be good at either one, but I think with those Florida ties, like we talked about a few days ago, Chris, I can see him going to Jacksonville if he doesn't stay at Clemson one more season, but Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville. Urban Meyer head coach.
Wait, Urban Meyer's at Clemson?
No, he's talking about Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence. I was like, wait, when did this happen?
If the Jags draft Trevor Lawrence, like having Urban Meyer there, I think would bring something to the team.
Okay, I can get with that. Zay,
a sense
what do you
of
think?
Respect a little bit, quote unquote.
If I'm Urban Meyer, I'm looking at the rosters for both sides. Yeah, I can start over and build it. Well, can I really build a team with Tom Coughlin over my neck, or is it still Tom Coughlin's team? Or I can go to one that's kind of a 6 to 7 win team, and we can build from that. I would go to the Chargers.
Okay, so we have our first debate right there. So for the fans listening to this, that is one of your questions that you'll probably see on our Instagram on to vote where Urban Meyer goes. And it could be neither, but we're saying LA or we're saying Jacksonville. So we'll see.
Yeah.
The next one, of course, is Doug Maroon. Okay. I got him listed as a coordinator, could be offensive, could be defensive, but I have him going to Detroit as well. I don't know if you guys say yay or nay to that.
I'd say yay. Like, what's the harm? It's Detroit.
Okay.
Nah, man, you're going home. The way it unfolded in Jacks, you're going home, man. It's over.
He's going to be hanging out with Gase.
Him, Gase, and Hugh Jackson. They're all together. Going to be drinking some beers, mad at the teams.
Do you want Freddie Kitchens there too?
Freddie Kitchens will be there along with what's his name? Jeff Williams.
What about Bill O'Brien?
Bill O'Brien. Oh man, yeah. Bill O'Brien can't leave his house. Hey, but thank you, Bill O'Brien. Thank you, Bill. I love you, Bill. Hey, you're my favorite.
I knew he was gonna say that. I
love you. Thank you, Bill. Even though we're trash.
You got a yay and nay on that one as well. The last coach I want to kind of touch on is Patricia. All right, I have him listed as a defensive coordinator going to the Chargers.
Yeah, Chris, we talked about that last night, and I can see that. Like, he did really well in New England.
The dude's a rocket scientist.
Yeah. And, it didn't pan out in Detroit, but it doesn't mean he can't coach. Like,
exactly.
Either head coach or a coordinator somewhere. But him going to San Diego with that team, I think we see
a
lot less.
Brian, it's LA.
It just rolls so naturally off his tongue. It rolls so naturally.
It's been in my head. It's been in my head for 20-something years. Like,
facts.
It's hard to say that. It's hard to quit it.
So yay on that one. Zay, what do you think?
Oh, I agree. But the thing about it, another asterisk with me is your star defensive player. Can you get along with the man?
I think he could.
Could you get along? You had Darius Slay. He's a top 5 corner if he's healthy. Can you get along with your man? You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that comes to him. The way he tried to run it, the Patriot way, works for the Patriots. Nowhere else, bro.
Exactly. That's why it's called the Patriot way.
Thank you. If you
Not
get that
the
in your
Lions
mind,
way.
Exactly. The Lions don't have a way. But the Lions don't have claws either. Losing.
Losing's the way.
So we got a yay, or we got 2 yays, one with an asterisk. So Brian, before we get into your segment on the NFL, we're still on NFL, folks. If you're still listening here, and it's gonna get juicy because pick'ems are coming. I want to say congrats to Cleveland. It's going to be short and brief, but I'm going to say congrats. You made it. Your head coach isn't going to be there due to COVID, and 5 other players, including your star center.
Antonio.
So good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor, quote unquote, from Hunger Games. So
yeah.
But with that, here's the thing: if you're a Cleveland fan, just celebrate that you finally ended the drought. You ended the drought. So, and you have a lot to look forward to next year too. So, and you know what? If they win the first round, then they're basically putting it in my mouth and they're like, "Shut up." Just shut.
Yeah, put your foot in your mouth. Like if they can come out and beat Pittsburgh with everything that's happened in the last day with their coaching and COVID, like props to them. Like, wow. Exactly.
All right. So with that, Brian, take us away to your subject that you always wanted to talk about. Let's hear it. What's it called?
With how delusional quarterbacks. Here we go. We all saw the collapse of the Philadelphia Eagles this season and their delusional quarterback, Carson Wentz. We all know the relationship there in Philly with Doug Peterson is not good. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I'm just going to read you this from what I did some research last night. And on CBS Sports, Wentz's cap situation has $66 million of fully guaranteed. He signed this June 6th, 2019, 4-year deal, $128 million, and the extension is kicking in 2021 season.
So it hasn't even started yet.
Hasn't even started yet. So in this offseason, who do you think would be dumb enough, or I don't know, maybe they see something in them to be like, you know what, let's bring Carson over here.
I know.
What do you got?
So they're old trading partners. Jacksonville. I'm gonna tell you why. This is what Jacksonville's going to do, right? You're going to sniff around Philly again. Hey, what's he worth? Oh, we'll take that contract. We got a bolt ton of money. We got the second largest cap space in the league. We can do it. Watch them do that, and they're going to screw up the draft. I guarantee it. They're not going to take a quarterback with their pick. They're going to go for skilled players and go after Wentz. I'm predicting that. Watch it happen. I'm calling it.
So Carson Wentz to Jacksonville.
And they're going to draft Devontae Smith. Watch it. I'm calling that.
Oh,
I'm calling that.
They're going to give him a weapon there. Okay.
I'm calling
that. Crystal ball right there.
Here's the thing with what you just said, Zay, is I can't disagree with it because it's very real that it could happen because it's happened once already. This is what I think. So since his contract extension doesn't kick in till next year, I think they're gonna keep him, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna go 2 seasons into that 4-year extension with him to eat as much as they can of that guaranteed money, cut him loose, and then part ways. He's gonna be riding the bench the whole time to Jalen Hurts. I'm telling you, Philly, believe in Jalen Hurts, but just don't give up the contract extension yet. Wait a little bit, save your money, and eat the contract that you can't. Because here's a good way of looking at it, okay? And I know Brian can relate to this because he is a diehard Angels fan. When you signed Josh Hamilton, who didn't even play a full season ever, and let alone when he did play, he was terrible. And he signed 5 years there, right? It was $150 million, right?
Yep.
What did the Angels do? The Angels ate away, 2 or 3 seasons of it.
Ate the money. Cut it, and now they're not paying anything. Now they have money. It's going to be a long road for Philly. They got to eat the contract for a couple more years, get closer to how much of that guaranteed money he's owed, and cut the fat and let it go. That couple more years, though, like, look at this. All right, he has a lot of money coming to him. He's got roster bonuses. So if he's on the roster, second string quarterback on the bench, he's going to be the highest paid bench player in the league. Like,
that's no question. There's no going around that. Like, unless he goes to Jacksonville.
This goes to Jacksonville, the team dumb enough to get him. He had a bad season. He led the league in interceptions this year. He had 15. It was tied for first.
That's a great tie right there.
He's delusional. To think that he wasn't the issue, his performance this season is what led to Hurts starting, given Hurts got taken out after rushing for 2 touchdowns on Sunday, whatever. He doesn't deserve that C on his chest. The C on his jersey, he probably thinks stands for Carson and not captain.
I like that.
Yeah, he can't take full responsibility. He's blaming others. Like, if I were on that team, I wouldn't want to play with him. Like,
and you know what the thing is like Philly doesn't have a bad roster. They have a lot of injuries, of course.
They are very injury prone.
But now it's starting to switch from the Carson Wentz problem to the Doug Peterson problem.
Yeah.
With when he benched Jalen Hurts for no reason, basically. But long behold, it was something that they planned on doing, which I highly doubt that.
Not if players want to fight you.
Exactly. So he had to be 2 players had to be held back from Doug Peterson. That shows that locker room has no camaraderie from their head coach.
Yeah, they're completely
let alone Carson Wentz.
Yeah. That's the sad thing is like when NFL Twitter of like other players that are on the Eagles and even retired players are like, what are you doing? Like, that's when you know it's a problem. When the other coach is like, that was weird. I didn't expect that. Like,
yeah,
that's an issue. And I mean, you won your ring with Nick Foles, not Carson Wentz.
Exactly. The Philly special.
Clean house. The names are there, but maybe like they're not going to listen anymore. Sign for a fresh face. Peterson's not going to work out. Get rid of him. Get rid of Wentz.
And I have one more thing to add to Philly. The only thing they have going well for them is they're in the trashiest division ever. So
and they couldn't even win.
They can always catch up though. That's the thing. But here's the thing also I want to say before we go into pick'ems is just a little quick side note. Washington, watch out next year. They're on the rise.
You know what? Not even next year. Watch out for them Sunday. I'm glad you're going to pick'ems. I'm ready for this.
I'm ready for this. I think Zay has been waiting a long time for some pick'ems. Brian, just to let you know, I never let you know this. Zay was part of our, oh my God, I can't even think, draft
Fantasy football.
Fantasy draft. There you go.
Yeah.
For the
biggest
past,
thing.
the past 2 seasons, I didn't do it this year. I'm really disappointed in myself.
I don't think nobody did.
But we always do the draft class when we go to each person's house, have a little cookout, some food, and then actually do a live draft board.
I love it.
Which is the best way to do it. But Zay, I'm gonna name off some matchups here, okay? And I want you to give me your picks and the best game to watch. Okay. So we're gonna start with the NFC first. Okay. The NFC first is Seattle versus LA.
Okay.
Tampa versus Washington. New Orleans versus Chicago. Who do you have in each of those 3?
I'm going Seattle, New Orleans, and Washington.
And then what's the game to watch for you on NFC?
For me, and it's the weirdest pick, but I'm saying Tampa Bay and Washington.
Okay. All right. Brian, who do you got?
I got Seattle, New Orleans, and I picked Tampa Bay over Washington.
Okay. And what's the game that you would want to watch? It could be the same one as Zay too. So whatever you want to pick.
I was leaning towards that, but being on the West Coast here, like seeing Seattle and LA, like watching them
all the time.
ice up this season and then seeing it in the playoffs on they're playing Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
Seeing that Saturday is going to be fun. And
they're 2 well-rounded teams.
Yeah, being out here in LA County is going to be fun to see whatever happens.
All right, so for my picks, I've got, of course, my birds. They're flying high. They're flying high. Jared Goff's not there, so Seattle taking this round 1. I got New Orleans over Chicago, even though Mitch Trubisky has been playing phenomenally well. And then I've got Washington over Tampa because Chase Young wants Tom Brady.
Not even that. It's
Alex Smith.
That's what I'm saying. Alex Smith, they got to rename the Comeback Player of the Year award after Alex Smith.
Yes.
The man was supposed to die. He wasn't going to walk again. You got to take off your leg. You came in, and when you're a starter, you're at 5-1 or 4-1 when you're a starter?
Yeah.
Come on, man. And then not even that defense is scary.
Yes, it
That's a scary defense.
You guys, the listeners, like if you get a chance, watch that E60 doc. So good. Like
it's so
rips
good.
your heart out. It's so cringy with the injury. Like he went through a lot. So he deserves every comeback award.
He gotta win it.
Not just him, but Ron Rivera deserves Coach of the Year.
Easily.
Yeah.
Went through cancer, beat it, came back, took him to the playoffs.
1-year division.
Yep.
Granted, it's a 7-9 record, and I know we got to talk about the AFC as well, but the only reason I'm so enamored with Washington is, I'll be honest with you, I can maybe name 5 players on that roster. But when you watch them on the field, these guys are scrappy. They play well, and they have a scary good secondary. And if Mike Evans isn't playing, I'm not so much worried about Antonio Brown as I am Chris Godwin, because I know that my front 7 is going after Brady. And that boy Chase Young, he's going to get Defensive Rookie of the Year. Like, he's that guy. He's what you drafted number 2 overall for. He's worth his advertise. So I don't know why. I'm just saying the Redskins football team is going to win it.
Yeah, Chase Young is going to go full Bane on Brady. He's going to be like, I broke you, Brady.
All right. So we're going to the AFC now. We're going to start with you, Zay, again. We've got Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. We've got Baltimore versus Tennessee, and we've got Indy versus Buffalo. Who you got? And what game are you watching?
I'm taking Pittsburgh. I'm taking Indy. I'm also taking Tennessee.
Okay.
And the game I'm watching, because I'm saying everyone back home's a Titans fan, I just love King Henry. That is a monster.
Just watching him run.
I'm like, man, no one can stop this dude. So I'm going to be watching that game the most.
Okay. All right. Brian, who do you got, and what are you watching?
I got Pitt against Cleveland, the Steelers for that one. I go against my Colts. I picked Bills. The Colts could take them, but Buffalo is scary, and I think can dethrone
They're the
Kansas
only
City.
team that can take on KC. They're the only team.
They're really good, and they know it. And then I got Tennessee over Baltimore.
Okay. What game are you watching? You gonna watch your Colts?
Ooh, I'm gonna watch the Colts for sure.
You don't believe that defense, Brian?
I think the Colts can take them. I think their defense can hold them.
That's why I'm taking your team. Is that defense?
I should have had more faith in them, but the Bills just I've watched a few games this season.
They're
And
good.
they're so good.
That's a good team.
Like all around, they're a good team. It's crazy.
That's a good team.
I'm excited for Tennessee Baltimore. Excited for Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry to see what he's going to do.
Who's going to have the most rushing yards?
Exactly. You're a quarterback or you're the running back. That's the crazy part.
Tennessee. You got to be Tennessee.
So I picked Pitt over Cleveland. One, Cleveland's head coach is gone. That means there's just going to be too much of a mess there. I got Baltimore over Tennessee. And I've got Buffalo over Indy. The game I'm going to watch, I'm also agreeing with you, Brian, is Baltimore versus Tennessee. Those are like two of it's like the same team playing each other. It literally is.
Must see football.
And it's just like, I think Derrick Henry is going to easily run over 100 yards. Easily. Lamar Jackson, easily going to run over 100 yards too, let alone he's probably going to get 2 passing touchdowns in there. But I think it's going to come down to depth. And Baltimore has more depth when players tire out than Tennessee does. And I think Baltimore takes that game.
Agreed.
So
I'm just going more of, I prefer Tennessee's run game over Baltimore's run game, because as you saw last year in the AFC semifinals, when you saw them play,
they just ran. It
was run. But now watching Ryan Tannehill play, I got more faith in him as an actual passer now.
Mm-hmm.
I believe now, another year in the system, he's going to be all right.
He reminds me of a prime Alex Smith. He's a safe quarterback. He doesn't shoot for long balls. He shoots for that seams up the middle in the slot kind of thing. He doesn't go crazy long or anything like that. So,
and that's what made Alex Smith so good in San Francisco and Kansas City.
Yep,
so,
exactly. And now he's doing it in Washington. He's doing it in Washington. So, no, it's great to see him back too. So, that's just a wrap on NFL. We still got more sports to come. So, really quick. For college football, tonight is the Heisman Trophy Award winner. You guys can disagree with me with all you want, but the 4 finalists are Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, and Devontae Smith. And if you, I'm sorry, I'm going to agree to disagree with whatever you say. If you don't say the same player as I do, it's Devontae Smith.
I agree.
Easily.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Easily.
I agree.
That is, I don't even remember when the last time a wide receiver won the Heisman.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
this kid has done everything since day one as a freshman.
Yeah.
In Alabama. And then Alabama has had the best offense they've had in years. That's why they also have Mac Jones on the Heisman finalist there. But Devontae Smith easily taking the Heisman vote. I think he just kind of runs away with the votes. And I think, honestly, if people want to say, but Trevor Lawrence did this, Trevor Lawrence didn't even play a full season. People are living in the past of Trevor Lawrence, and he just lost humiliation to Ohio State. Josh Fields put on a show.
And he missed a few games this year.
He missed 2 because of COVID.
So 2, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is like, even if you miss 2 games, how can you say he's a first place guy unless he put up numbers that you can't even think of? But people are going like this, but look at what he did then. That's the past. We're talking about this season alone. That's what a Heisman is. That's what an MVP is. It's just this season, not last season. If you want to talk about it, go to the Hall of Fame. That's it. Yeah. So Devontae Smith, I think we can all agree, is definitely going to take the Heisman. Agreed. And it's well earned. Very well.
I have a little the last wide receiver to win the Heisman was Desmond Howard of Michigan in 1991.
And what happened to his career when he went pro?
30 years.
Let's look. That's in the archives. We'll have to look that up later. But
I can tell you, it wasn't that pretty. It wasn't that pretty.
I honestly think, just one little thing, I think second place votes, I think a lot of people are sleeping on it, but I really think Kyle Trask deserves it from Florida. He put up the most touchdowns, the most yards. He did everything a quarterback was supposed to do. Yeah, he lost some games, but he played the full season. Okay, I get it. Mac Jones has been phenomenal. He's going to the finals in the college football playoffs. But Kyle Trask didn't have as much as what Mac Jones had. He didn't have a Devontae Smith. But I mean, set in stone, Devontae Smith taking the Heisman.
The rebuttal I got to give you for Kyle Trask, though, is you say that he didn't have as much as Mac Jones had. Well, if Devontae Smith isn't there, would Mac Jones be there?
That's a good question. Honestly, yes, because Nick Saban is still the king of college football.
Agreed.
It's like when you had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That's what this is right now. And let alone Mac Jones also learned from Jalen Hurts for a season. He learned from Tua. So he's had time to develop. Yeah, he came up later in his years in college, but he had the time to develop, and I think he would still just be as good.
Okay.
So that's it for college football. We're going to go on a quick little skit here with the baseball, because baseball right now, me and Brian love baseball. Zay, I don't know. I know it's not your favorite sport, but you like to watch. You like to go to the games, right?
I love to go to the games. I do.
Okay. I will say this: baseball right now has been boring and moves. Like there's all these free agents, and it doesn't even have to be headliners, but there's all these free agents. Nobody's signing anything. It's kind of weird. But I have George Springer. If you guys don't know him, he is the former center fielder for the Astros, or I was going to say Asterix, but I had to say Astros. But so far, the lead team to get him is Toronto. Okay. And George Springer is 30 years old. Mm-hmm. He honestly was probably the best player last year for the Astros. But they're willing to give up $125 million for George Springer. Is he worth that amount of money, Brian?
No.
Thank you for saying that.
He's worth that money if you were going off of postseason stats alone.
Okay.
Like what he did. I mean, can you even count that now? I don't know. Because of the whole
when playoffs happen in baseball, the most random players are the ones who step up.
But he hits for power. He's got great power. Doesn't drive a lot of guys in. Also, a lot of strikeouts. Let's see. He gets on base a little bit. In his last season with the 60 games, he played in 51 of them. OBP was 359. Slugging was 540. His OPS was 899. His WAR this year was 2.2.
It's not bad.
Not bad, but I don't think Toronto needs it. They're good without him, and I think they have a solid outfield. I would much prefer him to go to the Mets. I think the Mets could use him, but I don't think they should give him that amount of money. Like I said last night, 4 years, 80. Like, if that, maybe less.
Gotcha. Zay, what do you think?
No. I'm not giving you that. No.
Agreed.
Not at all. No way. Now, granted, I'm not a big baseball aficionado as you two are, but I know enough about it. Toronto don't do that out of desperation.
Toronto's got a young core. They have
do that out of desperation.
They literally, like Brian said, that it's so there's so much youth there, and they should use it, and it looks very promising. So I would say also no, George Springer. Sorry, but you're not going to get 125 mil. And if the Blue Jays do that, then we got to talk about another podcast coming up of we just need to make our own separate podcast of just contracts to burn in the MLB.
Some contracts. I think like touching on like the Blue Jays, like if you're thinking of spending that type of money, use it for a need like pitching.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
they did that last year.
Yeah, you've been rumored to get Liam Hendricks. Go get Liam Hendricks. There's rumors about Trevor Bauer going there. Go get Trevor Bauer.
Mm-hmm.
Like trade for a guy, do something. But there's guys out there you can easily sign for 1 to 2 years that are solid pitchers for a lot less money.
Way less.
Don't spend that money. Use that cap space for the next season. Say you want Francisco Lindor or
he will be available. He will be available.
It's basically saying go after your needs, not your wants. So,
exactly.
So we're done with Springer. Let's talk about this is a random one that probably a lot of people are not following about, but Yasiel Puig to the Yankees possibly. Does that work out? Zay, I know, like you said, you don't follow baseball too much, but I know
who that guy is.
You know who Yasiel Puig is.
That attitude. I don't know if it's going to work up there. That's the thing. It's your attitude, man. Yeah, like you're a good player, but the attitude up there with the Yankees, I don't know. Because that doesn't work up there. It's kind of like how the Patriots are on football. You're going to follow how they play. It's the reason people want to go play for the Yankees. Because you know that you're a perennial team that has a chance to go to the World Series every year. Every year.
So you don't think he goes to New York?
If he goes, he got to get that attitude in check. You can't go with a chip on your shoulder. You can't.
Yeah.
But he performs well. I know Brian's going to harp in on it. I'm just going to say really quick, the Yankees are injury prone. And with that, Brian, go ahead and take it away with that.
Zay, I agree with you. I think he's got to have an attitude adjustment if he goes to New York. But I think not playing this last season and having contracts fall through, and then him bouncing around 3 clubs last year between the Dodgers, the Reds, and then the Indians, like, people are tired of his antics a little bit. Like his attitude, he's got to show up to practice. He's got to play. He's got to remember how many outs there are. He's a fun player to watch. Like watching him against the Angels, I hated it. But like seeing him on different teams, like the fans love him. He's really good for baseball. I think he'd be great in New York with an attitude adjustment. They need the depth. I don't think they're going to re-sign Brett Gardner.
No.
Aaron Hicks, I don't think can play center field every day because he's injury prone as well. Aaron Judge is injury prone. Clint Frazier's good out there. Throw him in right when Judge is taking a day off or at the DH. Stanton is not playing the outfield. Get a guy like Puig. He can play any corner spot, even play center. I think he'll do well, and he's got opposite field power. That short porch and right, he's going to hit for homers.
And to add to that, he's going to sell tickets. If we can
they
go
have
back,
fans. If they have fans. If they have fans.
But you're going to sell merchandise, you know?
That's a bold prediction there, Zay. That's a bold prediction.
Asterisk.
There's not a lot of numbers left, so his 66 is going to go well in New York because everyone's coming in with high numbers now.
Exactly. You know what? Also, Chris, I was just thinking about it because, you know, out there in San Diego, how come nobody's talking about the moves they made?
Oh, we talked about it last episode.
That was just
saying, like, still nobody's still talking about it. Like
on ESPN and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, ESPN doesn't like baseball.
ESPN does not like baseball.
They don't like Jeff Passan.
They already give up.
Like
they give up. They give up Sunday night baseball and Monday night baseball, and then they're like, "That's it. That's all you get." So they're like, "There's too many games played. We can't follow all the metrics. We can't do all that." But San Diego, if nobody's listening about San Diego's moves, they're winning the NL West.
They're playing to win now.
That's my pick that I did last week, or it was last week.
Last week
they're winning the NL West. Brian has the Dodgers still, and
by like a couple games.
But yeah, it's going to be close, so it's going to be fun to watch. But the next topic for MLB, we were going to talk about DJ LeMahieu, but that's kind of, there's nothing really going on with that. It's basically between two teams. It's between the Yankees and the Dodgers, basically. Dodgers are taking the front runner on that. But let's talk about Hall of Fame for baseball, okay? How the Hall of Fame works right now is writers are the ones that vote the players in, okay? Just the writers. There's nobody else that can put somebody into the Hall of Fame for baseball. With that being said, Brian, how would you change that and how to get a person entered into MLB Hall of Fame?
Well, we talked about it last night too. I think, right now a lot of writers are taking a stance on, rightfully so, with how players act off the field. And a lot of the guys that are on that ballot this year, keep in mind, like, for example, Kurt Schilling, not a great guy off the field. He's very hard politically. He hates all the left wingers. He's got a big mouth, needs to keep it shut. I think he's borderline, probably is racist. Like his comments out there have been terrible, and voters are going off of that because this last year has been huge turmoil. But it's something that I think they need to learn to grow as a person, because you don't necessarily need to be a Hall of Famer on the field, but you have to be a Hall of Famer off the field.
Agreed.
There are old guys in the Hall of Fame that weren't the best guys off the field. They had their struggles off. They probably weren't great with other races on their team, but they're in. But I think this is weighing more on, if you don't vote for those guys, you need to vote for the guys that either did steroids or allegedly did steroids. So Barry Bonds, go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You were a Hall of Famer before you were doing steroids.
It was an era that you couldn't avoid because everybody was doing it.
Everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
And it made baseball fun. Like homers.
Another home run. Look.
It's like when you go on the Oprah show, you get a home run, you get a home run, you get a home run.
Facts. And you love watching the Giants play. I can tell you right now, for my community, my culture, if you're not playing baseball out there, you watch because of certain players, and Barry Bonds, one of those guys. We didn't know he was doing steroids at the time until he got caught, but he made us watch the game. You didn't know what he was going to do. So yeah, so I agree with Brian, 4,000%. If you're gonna vote this way, you got to vote the other way too.
Yeah,
it's got to be two to tango. So
Got to be.
With that, Brian, how would you make the voting happen then? How would you change it?
Voting, we touched on it last night. Split it between the writers and the Veterans Committee. I know when guys fall off the ballot after a certain number of years, they get voted on by the Veterans Committee after. Ron Santos, one that comes to mind with the Cubs. I think he got it after he passed away, and it's more of a. We did this much with the Cubs. Like, you're a big personality. We voted you in as former players, and I think they should have more say with the guys that are on the ballots now, because there's great guys on there. Torrey Hunter's on there. Mark Burley's on there. So I think splitting it with guys that played on the field and against those guys would help with the vote.
To add to that, so do you think, in your perspective, if that is the way of, if voting does start to happen where the Players Association and the writers have like a 50-50 split on their votes, if they can't come to terms with somebody going into the Hall of Fame, does just nobody go into the Hall of Fame that year?
It happened a few years ago.
Okay. Zay, you got anything to add with that?
Yes and no, in a sense. My thing is, when it comes to Hall of Fame, I hate that it's just the writers are the main ones who put the guys in. The players, retired players, people in the Hall of Fame, I think should have more of a say, because really it's a fraternity. It's, hey, we did our thing. We're in Cooperstown for a reason. And we saw what you did with your franchise. You did so much with franchise, but like how Brian said earlier, you're a terrible person off the field. You're great on and off the field. You deserve the jacket here with us. You're supposed to be here with us. So I think that players should definitely have more of a say into who goes to the Hall of Fame, because it's for them. It's not for the writers.
Yeah.
And Gold Glove is voted by that. It's voted by your peers.
Exactly.
Because they're the ones watching you day in and day out on the field.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
They're getting the first person view of everything.
Yes.
The thing is there are probably a million things that writers don't see. They just see numbers and headlines. That's it. That's it. So I think we all agree MLB needs to change it to a 50-50 Players Association and writers. And, I think that would be great. I think that would actually draw more people to play baseball too. I think.
Yeah.
So, or to watch it at least. But that's all we have for MLB. So
one quick thing before you do that. I'm sorry, I just thought about it. Kudos for the MLB for actually giving the Negro League the respect that is due for thousands and thousands of years coming. That's going to make more brothers and sisters out there interested in the sport. Going to be more of my people want to play the game. My bad, I had to throw that in there.
No, don't say you're bad. No, that's something that should have been taken care of a long time ago.
Yes,
but they
long
finally
time
did
coming.
it. They finally did it. So you know what? Kudos for them. And the Red Sox just hired a black woman with the
Bianca
minority
Taylor.
to coach. So I'm like, all right. So baseball's, they're getting us more included, which I love, because I know a lot of my cousins, they love baseball, but they don't play it because they say, I'm not a racist, not trying to incite anything at all. But they say that's a white man sport or Hispanic or Dominican or Latino person sport.
Yeah.
They don't see it as something that we can go in and play too. So kudos for the MLB for doing that.
That diversity is a big thing for any culture to grow, not just sports, but just in life.
As a society, And the Negro Leagues were
top of the line
on the same par as Major League Baseball then. Like those numbers should have counted. Like, you see the numbers Jackie Robinson put up, or Satchel Paige, like they could have done, they do that in both leagues. Like, so
Bob Gibson.
It was
Bob Gibson was great.
Bob Gibson.
Just as competitive. So kudos to MLB for doing that. I'm fully on board. That's great.
No, that's a great thing that you brought up, Zay. We appreciate it and everything like that. It's something that needs to be acknowledged, and it's making headlines, which it should be. So, with that though, we're gonna kind of change sports here a little bit. We're going to the NBA. All right, so it's NBA season. It's football season. It's a good time here in America for those two sports. The first topic I want to bring up is Steph Curry, 62 points the other night. The question is, and Brian put it out to the Instagram, if you liked it or not, is Golden State back? Zay, what do you think?
No.
That's a quick no.
Quick no. Thought. They're not back.
No, Curry, you're gonna have more 62+ point games this year. Your roster's not good. When you're Steph Curry, we expect that from you. What we don't expect is Draymond Green not scoring. We don't expect Kelly Oubre going 4 for 17 from the 3-point line. You're there, and it sucks for Kelly Oubre because you're there until Klay Thompson comes back, then you're out again. We expect Andrew Wiggins, a former number 1 pick, to play like a number 1 pick. You're also like 9 for 45 from the 3-point line. That's not Golden State basketball. So now they're forced to change. Yeah, they're on a hot streak now because Curry is playing like an MVP. Because if he is mentioned in the conversation, he should get it if the team is somewhat competitive. Because without him, they're terrible. Yeah. But no, Golden State's not back. Not at all.
Yeah, that 62-point game between him and Draymond Green combined, they scored 63 points.
Exactly.
So, get 1 point from Draymond.
So it's
get
safe
1 free throw. That's it.
It's safe to say, Golden State fans out there listening to this, don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up.
And well, I think this year, given it's a shortened season because it started in December, but they're not going to be the number 1 seed like they used to be. They're not going to be the championship caliber team, but I think they'll be competitive enough to get in the playoffs this year.
So like an 8 seed?
No,
8, 7.
Who are they? Okay, so let's talk about the playoff teams then. What team is Golden State going to knock out of the top 8? Because Golden State's not in the top 8 for me.
I had Minnesota at the 8 seed, but they're playing terrible.
Oh no, that's Phoenix.
They looked good on paper before the season started, but they are playing. Karl Anthony Towns, I think I feel so bad for the man from all he went through during this offseason.
Oh yeah, that was terrible on him.
And you know what? I would not blame him for taking the season off. I wouldn't blame him to get his mind, to get his family right, to get his he's just not there, and you can't blame him when he goes through so many losses in the family. So, but I did have the Timberwolves at 8. Before we go into the seed picks here, though, Zay, I do want to talk about a topic that's in the West. Who do you give the Suns success to?
The GM.
You going with the GM? Okay.
We didn't even talk about that. Wow.
The GM. I mean, think about it. I think they got a new GM this year, right? I think. Don't quote me on that. I think the top front office kind of got shifted around.
We'll have to look. We'll have to fact check that one. So.
They might, don't quote me on that. But
it's James Jones.
Oh, James Jones, that's right. He got championship DNA. He won rings in Miami with LeBron. I think he got some in Cleveland with LeBron. So now that you know how to build a winning franchise, okay, James Jones was there 2 years ago. That's right. But you saw what that team needed, a true point guard. You would have got one of the best to ever do it. Look at that team now. Yeah. Look at that team now. Phoenix, you got to snap. We got to prepare for these boys now. It's not just, we're going to Phoenix, easy dub. Because you're not worried about Devin Booker scoring 300 points and they still lose by 5. You got to worry about that no more. Now, you got to play for Chris Paul, who's still playing at an all-star level. He's like 34, 35. He's been doing it for a while. DeAndre Ayton looks like a number 1 pick. Devin Booker, solid all-star. Mikal Bridges that they got out there, they got a good, well-rounded team.
And it also helps that they're carrying it on from an undefeated season in the bubble.
They are.
Yeah.
They're doing great
in the bubble.
Brian, what do you got to add for the Suns? I know you didn't pick the GM, so who'd you pick?
I mean, it ties into the GM. He brought Chris Paul over, and you saw what he did with OKC last year. Like that team was not expected to win
anything.
I was so proud of OKC because I'm a Sonics fan, and then I got to shift over OKC. The way that Chris Paul came in for one season, took care of business, made everybody on that team.
He was
very cohesive and just he knew how to run the floor, was great. And I wasn't upset to see him go because we did get a lot out of it from Phoenix. So I can't be mad at that, but I'm happy for Chris Paul that he's having the success there too.
Yeah. They're a fun team to watch, and Chris Paul, it seems as though he's getting better with age, like LeBron. He's still doing his thing on the floor. He stays relatively healthy. He knows how to command it, and the players listen, and I think he's a great guy to have on the floor with Devin Booker.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think so. Zay, with you saying the GM, totally agree with that. Brian, you saying Chris Paul, perfect matchup with the GM and the Chris Paul choice. I totally agree 100% with both of you guys. Another team to talk about, the Sixers. aren't playing terrible. They're playing a lot better than what people expected it to be.
6-1.
I will say this: Joel Embiid is phenomenal this year. He's playing like he should be. But we did talk about Minnesota struggling, and we already kind of went in depth on that. So, what do you think is the Sixers' success? Why are they having so much success?
Because they're finally playing to what their team should be, what we've all known year in, year out. You got two perennial all-stars in your point guard and your big man. They don't need to be shooting 400 threes a night. You know, Ben Simmons is not going to take a three ball. Doc Rivers saying, you know what?
No.
Doc Rivers is letting Ben Simmons be Ben Simmons. That's, hey, get to the rack, go to the free throw line. That's all he has to do. Play within your role. Now you want to go get the best shooter in the league right now, and I've always said it. The real Curry, Seth Curry, the one who actually can shoot better than his brother, is doing this thing. You got Danny Green, who's still producing. And a quiet thing, Dwight Howard is playing well off the bench.
Off the bench.
Yeah.
He did that well in LA, too.
Did it with the Lakers last year.
Exactly.
This past game against Charlotte, Dwight off the bench, 9 points, 13 rebounds.
That's what he's meant to do. That's what he's
meant to do.
Yeah.
And so you can't be mad at that. Daryl Morey did a better job building this team than he did in Houston.
Yeah. I was surprised Dallas gave up Seth Curry.
Yeah.
Like, he was a good fit there. But
they wanted Josh Richardson that bad.
Yeah, they wanted him really bad. But that's a solid team. And they're finally taking that step with Doc Rivers there. I think he's a good coach for that team as well.
He's going to have more success now he's back on the East Coast.
Yes.
I think so.
I think it was time to get – it was very – it was a
long time coming.
Coming to get out of LA.
Yeah.
I think so.
So going on from former Doc Rivers head coach team, Boston. So Jaylen Brown already in the front runner for MVP this year. Already. Like, he's number one. This dude's on fire. But the thing is, Celtics have a lot of injuries right now, so the Celtics are still struggling even with a hot Jaylen Brown right now. So what do you think the Celtics should do during the season or even next season for depth-wise? What do you think should be a good kind of thing that they need to go after? Like, what position?
Jaylen Brown plays the 3, right? He's a 2. He's a shooting guard or small forward. Does he play both?
He plays both.
Okay. Well, before I even get into that, he could have been in a Memphis Grizzlies uniform if he would have traded them Tyreke Evans.
Yeah. I'm
still mad about that. Like, we could have had him, but we did not want to trade Tyreke Evans. Okay, back to the subject, though. Man, I'm still salty about that. What I think that they should do now, get more wing players that are veterans, that are proven. You know, just like how Vince Carter was in the latter years of his career, like how Grant Hill was. Get some guys like that. Say, hey, I don't need you to give me 30 minutes a night. Give me 18 to 20, knock down a couple 3 balls, play defense. Just give my guys a little spell break, catch your win, so they can get back out there. The problem with them right now is they have a lot of young guys that you really don't know who they are. They're playing well, but they still need somebody off the bench that can create and take pressure off of Tatum and Brown.
Yeah,
they're always the focal point.
There's no, like, not necessarily older guy, but a guy that's been around, you know. Like last year, I think they had Gordon Hayward there. I mean,
well, Kemba Walker was good.
Kemba Walker's good. He's hurt right now.
Injury prone.
Not seeing minutes, but once he gets back, I think he's that guy for them. But go out and, I mean, he's kind of older, but JJ Barea spent his almost entire career in Dallas. Like, he was a guy coming off the bench, giving 10, 12 minutes. Like Zay said, a couple threes. Put pressure on the offense, on the opposing team, and sit back down. Get that jolt back in the team if they're struggling on the floor.
Yeah, they need a good, like, Fred VanVleet. That's what they're missing that. A lot of teams in the league are missing a Fred VanVleet, but it's only so much of them in the league now. So if you're Boston, you know, Danny Ainge knows how to make deals. He knows how to go and get players. He can fleece a team. I'm a Grizzlies fan. I know about getting fleeced. He'll fleece a team out of anything. He'll find a way to get it done. So he go out there, get a Fred VanVleet type player. Boston going to be terrible. Well, I won't say terrible. They're going to be terribly good.
Yeah.
And a signing nobody talks about for Boston, Tristan Thompson. No one talks about that.
That's a good one.
No one talks about that.
Yeah. I totally agree with the Tristan Thompson thing. And I also agree with everything you guys said for Boston. One of the two last topics I have here. This is just kind of like a yay or nay question. Is Steve Nash a good fit as a head coach for the Brooklyn Nets? Brian, let's go to you first.
When this came out of him going to Brooklyn, I was a little floored by it. Given the history of New York with just first time coaches and see how that went. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like Jason Kidd, I think he coached the Knicks, and it's the Knicks of the Knicks, but
I think he went to the Nets. Did he go to the Knicks? I don't remember. Anyway,
some team in New York. He went up there.
Yeah, he's somewhere up there.
One of those teams. But now he's in LA, assistant coach for the Lakers. But it was weird because it's like you think of Steve Nash, you're like, oh, like 2-time MVP, future Hall of Fame point guard, but you don't think of him as a coach. Not like kind of a quiet guy on the court, did his thing, was a leader, but seeing him as a coach was different. But so far, he's got a healthy Kyrie and a healthy Durant.
Well, not right now.
But with those guys, though, that says a lot about your coaching. Look at the Lakers and Frank Vogel. He's a good coach, but
he inherited everything.
And AD, he inherited that. He got a good team, and he got a better team this year. Steve Kerr, yeah, same thing. Kerr. But as of right now, Nets are up on the Jazz 48-25.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a blowout.
Kyrie's got 18.
And that's without that's without KD there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
They have a good team. The Nets last year without Kyrie were a good team. Spencer Dinwiddie is a starter on another team. Karis LeVert is a starter on another team.
I really like
Jared Allen. Yeah. Jared Allen, a starter on another team. Taurean Prince, he was a starter in Atlanta before he went to the Nets. They have 4 guys on their bench that can start on any other team.
And they got great D, like DeAndre Jordan did a lot last year just by himself doing D. So
exactly.
But as of right now, Kyrie 7 for 7 from the field, 4 for 4 from 3-point range.
Oh, so he's putting the dagger in basically, and then twisting it at the end.
He back. So.
He's killing Mike Conley. I hate that so much. No, I love Mike Conley, man.
So going back to the original question though, what? Let's hear a yay or nay.
I'm gonna go yay with pull from Zay here an asterisk because he's got players.
Yeah.
I like to see what he has. I would like to see him coach last year's Nets team.
Okay.
No, of course, it'll have Brian said, of course, asterisk, because who wears number 7? Who wears number 7 in Brooklyn?
KD.
Who wears number 11?
That's Kyrie. 7-11.
I can go there and coach him. I can go coach them boys. I can go coach them. Hey, do y'all thing on the court, play defense. It's not hard to coach a team like that. Now, if he was a hire for the Sacramento Kings, talk to me then about being a good coach. If you're a hire for what's another team that just
Cleveland?
Get it right. Cleveland right now. Actually, Cleveland surprisingly
they're actually doing okay
games, which is weird for Cleveland. But coach them, then say, "Oh, you're a good coach." Coach your Thunder right now. That roster is real young. Then tell me if you're a good coach. But
that's a good way to look at it. Both of you guys had good ways of looking at it. Basically, just don't inherit the best thing you can get. See
Coach
what happens.
Detroit.
Coach Detroit. Ooh, wow. They can't get. I love Dwayne Casey, by the way. Ooh.
All right. So the last topic for the NBA here. All right. This is out of my jurisdiction. Okay. Don't quote me on it. Well, actually, you can quote me on it because it is my quote. So I say Brandon Ingram is one of the best, if not the best, extensions that the Hornets have ever, or sorry, the Pelicans. New Orleans has ever made in their franchise ever.
Yes. I said it even when he was the Lakers. He was just in a bad situation because he couldn't thrive the way he needed to. He has to be the focal point. When he played at Duke, what was he? The focal point, And now that he's down in New Orleans, everybody's worried about Zion Williamson, but look at him now.
I think Brandon Ingram has a really good shot in either this year or the next coming years to be an MVP. He can because he gets he gets rebounds. If he averages a little bit over, I would say 18 points, 20 points a game with enough rebounds to go with that.
Yeah.
In assists, he can get it. He can easily get it.
Well, my look on go ahead, my bad. Go ahead, bro.
Oh no, go ahead. I was looking at something.
I was about to say the way that I look at MVP is, can they win without you? Are they a better team with you, or are they still going to find success without you? Like when Steph Curry won it those years, you weren't the MVP, in my opinion, because they could win without you. Mm-hmm. Put him on the Sixers team. Are they even going to be relative? Back then when the Sixers were terrible, put Curry on that team. Will he be good? No. Put him on the Kings any year. Will he carry that team to success? No. So I agree, as usual, Astrid. I want to see Brandon Ingram win MVP, but they can win without the guy because you got Zion. Now, if Zion goes on there both out, then we're saying
then you got trouble.
Yeah. You got Zion, you got Bledsoe. Lonzo had a good game last night in OT, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 for 6 from 3-point. So keep falling. Zion, double-double. Eric Bledsoe, double-double. Steven Adams, 10 points, 8 rebounds.
That's another guy that they got.
I was just about to say
Steven Adams, man.
Yeah.
But
off the bench, too.
Yeah. He started last night, but he's coming off the bench a lot.
For Jackson days.
Brandon Ingram is going to take most of the shots, and he did last night in OT. He went 12 for 31.
Wow.
So 38.7%. One for 6 from 3-point range. But the guy's got 12-foot long arms.
True.
Exactly.
But I mean, if he's making that many shot attempts, then he's going to get points.
He's going to get points. He scored 31 last night. He was good in LA. He needed to develop. They did it. Like I said in the last episode, LA developed players. They traded him, got their guy in AD, won a championship. Brandon Ingram's going to do great things in New Orleans, and I can see him winning an MVP in the next few years.
And I also had kind of a thought, would LA have buyer's remorse in a couple years?
No.
Okay.
You're talking to Brian. He's an LA fan, so he's a Lakers fan.
As they lift their back-to-back banner, I don't think they're going to care.
Back-to-back. Oh, I love it.
They're going to run it back.
They're going to run it back. Will they win it back? I want to say no because, man, y'all beat us up last night. You're going to beat us up again tonight because my team's banged up. I'm Memphis all day. But that's just saying I don't know who really is going to give LA a run this year. It's going to be from the East. No one in the West is going to run with LA at all. It's not going to be the Clippers.
The Clippers, now, they are they're always going to be a head case. They are where are they?
I think for the
they're
East,
5-2 right now.
For the East, though, I think if it was Lakers in the championship and an East team, the only East team I could see, and if they're fully healthy, is Boston.
I don't say that. You're gonna laugh at what I'm about to say.
You're gonna say Milwaukee, huh?
No, sir.
Oh, no. Wait. You're gonna say Indiana?
No, sir.
She's gonna say Philly.
No, sir.
Toronto.
Orlando.
No,
Miami.
No, sir.
Miami, huh?
No, sir. Atlanta.
Oh.
Atlanta.
Oh, just because they. Oh,
they're
man.
4-3 right now.
Here's the thing. If you watch them play, the games that they lost were very close. When they lost to the Nets, they shouldn't have lost it. You're right.
Is a loss.
Here's the thing, though. The way that team is, they're young. They got a perfect blend of experience, and they got the veteran leadership. People don't really acknowledge how good of a pickup Bogdan Bogdanovic and Rajon Rondo is when they got them. They don't acknowledge how critical that was. Because now Trae Young, you're no longer the focal point anymore. John Collins can now go spread his wings and dunk over Jared Allen if he wants to. Now you got a game plan for Bogdan Bogdanovic because that man was a sniper in Sacramento. He just didn't work because you had Buddy Hield there. You got to go with your high draft pick because why are you benching him for Bogdan Bogdanovic? You drafted me 3rd overall. So what kind of message are you saying? I won a 3-point championship, but you benched me for Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's smoking up the joint. So I'm saying Atlanta's is my sneaky, quiet team to do damage out east.
That's a big choice there. That's a big choice.
Yeah.
Zay, you're right, though. Like, their biggest loss this year, it looks like their biggest loss
might be 5.
Deficit was like 5 points.
Might be 5. Like, they score. They can't play defense that well, but they score with anyone.
Like Monday, they lost 113-108 to the Knicks. Day before, they lost 96-91 to Cleveland. So it's 5 points. That's it.
It's still an L, but they score with anyone.
So you hear that, Atlanta? You hear that? Pick the right bird team. Go to the
Not the
Hawks,
Falcons.
not the
Yeah,
Falcons.
don't go to the Falcons.
They got to do right by Michael Vick. Until they do right by Michael Vick, the Falcons will forever be the Falcons. You got to do right by Mike Vick.
All right, so that's a wrap on NBA. Quick little brief thing here. NHL. This is, I could say honestly, out of the three of us here, this is kind of like my
That's your thing.
sport
That is you.
that I actually watch. If you don't know, there's a player that is 7 feet tall named Zdeno Chara. He is Russian. He's been with Boston forever. Before that, he was in Ottawa, but he recently is now sent to Washington Capitals. If you didn't know that, that's just a little FYI. Also, Joe Thornton, longtime San Jose Shark, Hall of Famer, going easily into the Hall of Fame first. He's now with Toronto, playing the first line, which is going to be weird for a 41-year-old. And then I know you guys know these names. I know you know names, and this is one of the more popular ones is Alex Ovechkin, one of the best players to play the sport. So Washington's coming out of roadblock with him on an extension. They don't know yet if they're going to sign him to an extension or not. What would you guys do? I know you guys don't follow NHL a lot, but he is up there in age a little bit, but not too high. I mean, NHL you can play for a long time. So do you guys give him the extension or no?
He's 35.
Yeah.
When's his contract up?
Next year.
Next year is age 36 season.
He'll be 36.
Yeah, he just turned 35 in September.
He said he'll play till he's 45.
Man,
that's tough though.
With him, with a 3-year extension.
Okay. He's still producing. He's still producing. He's always in the top 10 for points. He's always in the top 10 for points still. So
I'll give him a 2+1.
Okay. So do you want to give him like 2 years in like a club
and
option?
A team option. Yeah,
club.
Team
Yeah,
option.
do a club, don't do a player option.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. And then last but not least, okay, so tonight is a big game in juniors world hockey. It's basically the Olympics for 18 and under, basically. Mm-hmm. USA versus Canada today. USA is undefeated. Canada undefeated. USA juniors have beaten the Canadian team the last 3 times. Who wins tonight? Who takes the trophy?
Canada.
Well, Canada. Well, I think knowing my hockey expertise, Gordon Bombay is going to bring that team in. The old ways of the Ducks. USA over Canada.
Let's go.
So they're going to just start saying, you're going to hear quack, 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 quack. So I want to tell you guys this, though. I know you guys know who this player is, and I know you know this name. Watch this. Brian, I know you know this, but I'm going to watch. Zay's going to have a flashback. Zay, when we first recorded an old podcast, right, we were at a San Diego Gulls game.
Oh, what's my man's name?
Okay. This man's name was Troy Terry.
Troy. Yeah, Terry.
This man was a hero against USA versus Canada. He was a USA player and had heroics to beat Canada 2 seasons ago for this. So Troy Terry, there are Troy Terrys out there for USA. I got USA winning it, bringing the trophy home.
Okay. I'm just saying, whenever there's pressure like that, we beat these boys 3 times in a row, that's when you choke. That's when you choke. That's when you really say, you know what? Haha, we got it. Wait, what? We lost. So usually how it goes.
Brian, with are you frozen there? I can't tell on YouTube here.
I think he is frozen to me. He is frozen to me.
Oh no. Oh, he just texted me. It's frozen. So sorry, folks. We've lost Brian on the feed. It's a bummer, but we're gonna continue on here. That was actually the last thing we had to talk about. So I don't have my other host with me, Zay. So cool. You're gonna have the honors here of signing out. So from all the fans, I know Brian's gonna say out there, stay safe, stay healthy, be a good person, always do the right thing. As always from me, always make smart decisions, be safe out there. It's a different world, but always make the right decision. Zay, I know we were talking about in the intros, you're in the rap industry, and it's a growing industry. And I want to know, for all of our fans out there too, what is the album's name that they can go and listen to on Spotify, iTunes, and all that music industry stuff?
Yeah, man. Anywhere you can stream music is King of Trunk Music. I make music that real relatable to me, where I come from, and the people that listen to it. We love to just get in the car, just cruise around, and just ride around. That's what we do. So my music for that. I don't preach violence. 'Cause I'm not a violent cat. None of that. But yeah,
You stay
it's
humble.
like,
You stay humble.
oh, very humble, man. You know, because anybody, if you got a dream out there, just get up and do it. The hardest part of doing anything is doing it. You just gotta get up
Having
and
the
do it.
initiative.
Exactly, because you're gonna fail. Be ready to fail. I failed so much. Everybody fails, but it's on the people who make it. You pick yourself up, you do it again. So if you're out there listening, thank y'all for listening, tuning in with my brothers here, and stay safe. Wash your hands, sanitize your hands, and keep that mask on until we get past this corona thing. It's gonna pass over soon. Let's just get past it, and hopefully the word goes back. We can actually, the sports we're talking about, we can go watch them in person.
I agree. It takes all of us to beat this thing so we can go enjoy sports again or just enjoy regular life again. So
that's it, man.
Thank you guys all for listening again. This is our second episode. Zay, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and it's definitely not the last. And so tune in a couple of days. We'll be shooting the next podcast episode out there. Thanks for listening, guys.